LNC, baby. LNC.
What's going on, brother? You know how, hey, I was looking forward to this so much, man. I'm like, wow, I get to talk to the Funk Master, man.
That's awesome. First and foremost, how's your brother? Do I know?
Yeah, it's how can I say this? It's a up and down roller coaster ride.
Okay.
But the situation is now, he's been hit. You have to imagine he was walking on the streets.
Yeah.
And then the car caught him from behind.
Yeah.
With the impact was so severe.
Yeah.
That he was flown into the hospital with the helicopter. Wow. Yeah. And so the hip is now better, but right now the organs.
Oh, it's the organs, internal.
The kidneys, the liver.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I didn't mean to start it like this, but I really did want to know because my sister, who's my cousin, but who I lived with, she also, about 20 years ago, same thing. She walked out of a club. She's walking across the street, and the car just destroyed her. Oh, man. Yeah, like just nailed her. Same thing, flown up. I wasn't there, but and then she was in the hospital, and she's a year later, she had to learn to walk again and all that stuff. And then, a year and a half later, she's running. And then 2 or 3 years later, she did a marathon. Like she's unbelievable. God, yeah. Like her story is insane. But yeah, that whole recovery part is, or not even recovery, just right now. It's just, I guess it's just like you said, up and down, right? Like, yeah. Like what's every day is an up and down thing, which is crazy. How old is your brother? Young? Is he younger?
44.
44, right? Okay. Yeah.
And so we're now it's just, I mean, very, very glad to hear that your sister was all right after that. And she was caught from the side.
I don't, I don't remember if it was. I have to call her again to ask her about that. About the exact. I think she was. Yeah, I think it must have been from the side. It must have been from the side. Yeah, I have to talk to her about that again. It's
and the driver apologized. He came up to you.
The driver was drunk. So this. I wasn't around when this happened. I was playing professional sport, and then this all happened. And then I wasn't even around during her, unfortunately, during her recovery stint. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, she was able to recover, and now she's incredible. Like she's unbelievable. But that was a long time ago. But
okay.
The hope is there.
Let me just grab a piece of paper because I was so. Client was in here before you, and I was like, no, I gotta grab. Always gotta grab piece of paper when I talk to legendary folks. And folks that I'm always taking notes, brother. It's all about taking notes. My brain is such a bad storage medium. So I'm like, whenever I hear stuff, I mean, you now said that you were playing professional sports. So of course I want to dive into stuff like this.
Two of those two sports.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just again, brother, it's not about it's I'm actually really grateful that you're asking, and we get so much love, so much feedback, so much prayers. It's kind of like now I gotta somehow juggle between internal processing. Then I'm taking all the calls from the doctors, and I'm forwarding it to the family, and making calls. And just got a call from the doctor who's now doing something on his leg, and he wanted to get my approval of it, saying, "Are you the consent?" So I said, "Yeah." And so now it's like juggling between the internal processing, the doctors, my family, and privacy. So people are asking, and understandably, and sometimes I'm like you got to tell me how you do this on my YouTube channel now. I've stopped. I'm not stopped, but I kind of like step back from engaging with the comments, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I get great comments from a great community of people, but since I've stepped back a little, it's like the YouTube grind is not as tough for me now. I mean, of course, now with my brother and my focus completely different. But But how do you do it with YouTube and comments and stuff?
There's a great listen. So everything you're saying right now is amazing. So, for me, I run the over 40 Alpha Brotherhood, right? So my focus is men over 40, 50, 60, 70.
Most def.
And the key for that is, men at this age right now in this time, we have the lowest testosterone levels we've ever had.
It's crazy.
Testosterone's our number one growth hormone. It keeps us going. Men are in the worst shape, suicide, depression, all of those things. And one of the things I tell all these guys is, listen, you're going to be the patriarch of your family, whether you want to be or not. As you get older, it just happens. People, when things happen, people are going to come to you. They're going to ask you, what do we do, grandpa or dad or whatever? Yeah. And you're going to have to be mentally, physically, and emotionally ready to take that stuff on. You will have time to unload. But right now, your family needs you. And if you are in horrible shape, depressed, if you can't even freaking walk up the stairs because you got joint pain, man, you're gonna be no good to anybody. As men, we're here to provide, procreate, Amen. And to protect our family. And if you can't protect yourself, how are you gonna protect your family? So I like to start off a lot in my coaching calls. I like to reiterate that, okay, because of how important our health is. So when things like that happen, because it does happen to the guys in our brotherhood, people will, and I tell them, listen, as you get older, there's going to be more people dying. There's going to be more people, you're going to lose your friends, you're going to lose your family, and you're going to be the person most likely that they're going to look to organize things, to get everything going, whether you want to or not. So you have to be prepared mentally, physically, emotionally. So we do have those times where you obviously are the one who is the patriarch at this point, because everything's coming through you. Yeah. So at this moment, you probably don't have time to relax and grief and, do all your stuff, because you're in action mode right now. Like you're in I got to take this, I got to do this, which is exactly, you're in superhero mode, which is where you need to be. Right. Superhero mode. Honestly, amen. You need to be superhero at the moment, and that's what you're doing, right? And you have to do things, obviously, when you can, like kettlebell training or making sure you're eating healthy. This is what I always tell these guys too. Like during the times when the shit hits, can I swear on this?
Yeah, most definitely.
When the shit hits the fan, you have to also keep yourself healthy during those times, because those are the times where it's much easier for you to fall back and crash. When you're needed the most, and you're needed the most. So that's why you have to be like, okay, I just got to make sure, maybe I'll only eat twice today because of all things that are happening, but I got to make sure what I'm putting in my body is there. You know what? Generally I do 30-minute kettlebell training. You know what? Today, these next week, I got to just get at least 10 minutes in, because I know that puts me in a nice state. It fuels me. It gets me stronger. And so what you're doing is amazing. And just, for me to just, to add, just make sure you're staying healthy. Again, people can say, oh, emotionally, you got to stay healthy, you got to take care of yourself. Yeah. Right now, honestly, and this, there's not a lot of time to take care of yourself. Amen. Right. And this is why we have to stay healthy throughout our lives for these times when you're not going to have time. You're under fire. You're under attack. And I'm not saying but you have to be there to stay. Okay, I'm under fire. I'm under attack. I got to let go of a few things. Right now it's this person who is the most important at this point. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to do what I can to make sure the food I'm bringing in, the water I'm drinking, some exercise when I can, but I really have to make sure that I'm on point for this. And then once all of this happens, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be months. Then I may have to just crash for a bit. Amen. Go see somebody, go talk to somebody, make sure that I'm okay.
What you're saying, it's I have to make sure I don't start crying right now, because you're preaching. You're preaching to me, brother, and it's really, let me tell you, it's like it's soothing my soul, because when I remember when my father's 81 years old, right, and I can't thank God enough that I still have him with me. Because all the wisdom that he shares with me, and in my business, in the last 5 years of my life have been the most successful and also the most responsible. So whenever you can hear it to what your dad is saying to his advice, it's like it gives you like an armor. And when he says, I think, son, that's what you're supposed to do. Then I'm like, I got to do it. Why? Because my dad said so.
Right. Yeah.
So when this happened, and my father was crying, that that really, it ripped me to shreds. At that moment, it was in the middle of the night, and my father was sleeping. So you have to imagine, my father's asleep. So my mom calls me. So we're at the hospital. We're 3 hours there, and then we get some information. Then we go back. So I come home. So my dad wakes up. So I go into the room. I see him crying. And I'm like, oh. So I was walking up to him. And I said, Dad, listen. You know what I'm gonna do right now? I'm gonna bring my brother home. Okay, I'll bring your son home. That's what I do. Okay, so you're just preaching, because at that moment I'm like, you got to be so solid, and even though you feel like breaking at the same time, it's like, I gotta do it. It's not like you're like a wedge now. The storm's hitting you. And it's like what you're saying. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. You can take care of yourself in situations like this. But there's one thing that you can do, and that I hear you say now. I'm not just putting it in different words. There's a Latin expression that goes like this. It says, si vis pacem para bellum. And that means, if you want peace, prepare for war.
100%.
It's exactly this. So this situation that I'm in right now is demanding so much of me. But thank God I was providing my body with the necessary nutrients, with the necessary training, so that now even my mental game is at a point where I'm like, I can handle this. Even though sometimes I feel like crumbling, it takes a few hours and I'm back at it again. And that's what you're saying. And another thing that you're saying that just popped into my mind was habits. You mentioned that when a storm hits, then you gotta take care of that good stuff. Still drink your water, still get your work in. And I love what you're saying, and it's exactly what I'm doing. It's like, it's not gonna be 30 minutes today. It's gonna be 15. And we're safe. And it's all good. But I get that workout in because I know my body requires it, right? So as I was doing this, as you were saying this, I was like, wow. It is nothing more than what we're trying to teach people, and that is building a strong habit. And you can exactly put it in the context of training. A few days ago, I was working on my long cycle technique, and sometimes what I do is I do pre-exhaustion. So I want to exhaust my body, get tired intentionally, and then work my long cycle. Then I tape it and then I watch it, because I know when I'm tired, the only systems that are working are the automated systems. I cannot focus. I'm breathing hard. But if my technique is safe when I'm tired, then I can say, wow, I think I got that exercise down pat.
100%. 100%. So there's so many places we can go with this.
Amen.
and everything you said is perfect. But I want to answer the question about the YouTube stuff. So
yeah, keep going.
I told you. So
we're taking like
I know we're all over the place.
All over the place.
Your YouTube, I whenever I post a YouTube, and I haven't posted in a while, I've cut back to maybe once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, whatever that is, because my focus is somewhere else right now. And so because my focus is somewhere else right now, and I know that my YouTube, my army, they love me. And when I do come up with a workout, because I just do follow along workouts, that's my big thing. I make sure it's a banger, right? So that, and then I do that premiere, so then I'm on there with them, and I let them know during their comments or whatever, this is where I am right now. You may only be getting workouts every 2 weeks or 3 weeks for now, but just if you want a full program, then come into my program.
Yeah,
right. But yes, definitely not going to be commenting on everything. But sometimes, that also gives you a little bit of energy and armor, seeing the people who love you, right? Because I only comment to people who actually follow me and like me. And I don't any negative people. Why am I putting my energy on that negative person when I have 100, 200, 300 positive people who love what I do, Why would I give this person time when all of these people, I don't care about this person. My guys are going to take care of that person. So I only focus on the positive people and the people who support. And sometimes, depending on what we're working on or whatever, that, just going in and short little comments or reading the comments, like can also give you a little bit of, right.
You're
but yeah, I don't, also when I lay off of YouTube, it's like, all right. Like, just like you said, it's like there's a little bit of stress that's relieved, right? Because you feel like you owe all these people something, which, I mean, when you owe the people who pay you, truly.
Most definitely.
Okay, those are the people who you owe. Okay, because they're investing in you and themselves.
Yeah.
The guys who aren't investing in you and yourselves, you don't. I love you guys. You're great, and I will post stuff up, but I'm going to focus more on the guys.
The focus, right?
And men who are actually paying. And if you want me to really give you my full attention, my training, my coaching, my wisdom, then come with me, come pay me, and you'll see what I give you. Right. That's when I change that focus, man, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame.
You're confirming my just my thoughts on it and what other people are saying as well. Right. It's like, if you want my time, you have to bring some money. That's what it is. You want my time. But if I put a video up where I can help everybody, which is beautiful, awesome.
Right.
And that's one thing. When people start really getting into questions, then I'm like, listen, this is where you get the answers. Yeah, but I got to do some digging. Well, that's what you got to do. Yeah, but I need the answers right now. Well, then go get some coaching.
Yeah, come. Every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, I have live coaching in my brotherhood every Sunday. It doesn't matter. With Thanksgiving Sunday this Sunday, I'm there at 10 a.m. We got hundreds of brothers on there. I coach them on something, and then we do Q&A. Also, awesome. Every 10 days, my team goes into our Facebook private group, and we have something called Ask Funk, which is, I think it's going to be the podcast this week. Wow. But I go in so if anyone has a question in our Facebook group, they put on #AskFunk. Now,
cool.
Great. Awesome. The fact that there's a lot of guys who are already in the Facebook group who have done all of the phases, because my program is set up into phases, phase 1 to phase 24. And everyone starts in phase 1. No one comes in this program. So everyone has done phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So everyone goes through the same program. So if someone is new, comes in and goes, I'm still struggling with this, or what do I do with this? There are 20 other guys who understand where they are. No one goes no one's like, oh, suck it up, buddy. You're only on phase 1. It's like more like, oh, I remember that, man. Or yes, I had that same question when I was in phase 1. This is what you need to do. So, and then every 10 days we get on a video just like this. Rick will ask me the question and I go in and break down the answer. Usually it takes like 2-3 hours, but everyone,
awesome.
I know everyone, I like to talk. Everyone,
you have to. If you're on YouTube, and that's what I see with everybody. That's what I see with everybody when I'm talking to these guys, even on the podcast, and when I watch their YouTube videos. It's like, you gotta have the gift of gab. You gotta be like, wow. That's what it is. That's what it is.
See, my wife and my team, they're like, dude, you don't have to talk through this round. I'm like, I can't help it, man. Yes, I'm struggling. Yes, I can barely breathe.
I can't stop.
But I can't. I got to coach, right?
Most definitely.
It's hilarious. So so that's how I handle the YouTube stuff. And like I say, once in a while when I post now, I got to make sure I post a good solid 30-minute workout, whether it's dumbbells, body weight, or whatever it is. But if you want all the funk, just come to the Brotherhood or the Kettlebell Spartan Academy or wherever our Women of Strength, and we're in there. And we, our number one thing is results. That's my number one goal. The money will come. For me, it's all about results. All about results. If I'm not getting these guys results, if I'm not changing their lives, if I'm not helping them naturally boost testosterone, if I'm not teaching them things through workouts, nutrition, mindset, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my job. I'm not happy with that.
And brother, how do you quantify results? Because if I can just set the stage, most people will like, results mean I get shredded, or results mean I build muscle. Yet what I have learned over the course of my coaching career is, yes, these are the ones that really pop up. It's like the eyes go like boom, oh wow, what happened to that guy or to that gal? Wow, that's awesome, right? But it's more than that, right? It's just when you get results. For example, we have a client, she's 74 years old,
right,
and she comes to the workout once a week. Right. And we just do some ultra basic stuff, some farmer's walks, some prowler push, some rowing, some swings, some deadlifts. And she loves it, and she looks great, and she lost some weight. And so in her case, it's not the result that she's gonna be like this in X amount of weeks. For her, she said, listen, you know what I can do right now? I can go down, open up a drawer, and come back up without any help. So how do you quantify results?
Love it. So everyone coming into my program, their number one goal is to lose weight, right? Because anyone who comes to my program, whether they're in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and these are all men, they're coming in at their lowest point. And generally it's they got belly fat, or, you know, I don't get a lot of guys who are super skinny fat. I guess I do, but not as many as like obese, diabetic, all of those people coming in, right? And they want to lose weight, right? They want that's number one. But for me, I know the reason why they're at that point is because lifestyle, probably testosterone levels are super low. So my program is based on naturally helping them to boost testosterone. That's and I make them get their testosterone levels checked, or I suggest to them, get your testosterone levels checked. Right? But here's the thing, most men don't even know it's testosterone that's causing a lot of the things. They're having no energy, no confidence, you know, the mood change, obviously libido. There's the correlation between testosterone and physical, you know, not being able to build muscle, not being able to get rid of that belly fat, having man boobs. That doesn't there's a disconnect because we don't talk about testosterone like that, right? Testosterone is a negative thing at this moment, but that is going to change. I'm going to explain something to you.
Most definitely.
That will change.
Looking forward to it.
But so to answer your question about results, for me, the results are, so I already know that they're going to lose weight if they come in. I already know they're going to build muscle. I already know this is going to happen. In fact, I already know that at some point in phase 6, it's going to turn from, I don't want to losing weight to getting the 6-pack, right? But
advanced, right?
Right. Yeah. But for me, it's obviously testosterone levels, libido, energy. So they have more energy to play with their kids. Because now we get all these testimonials. Man, I got more energy to play with my kids. Oh man, I went to the doctor and now I don't have to be on my cholesterol pills. Oh man, I'm no longer pre-diabetic. Oh, my wife and I have more sex. Oh, I got rid of my my mental health pills or whatever they are. Like those are results. I'm pain free now. I'm able to go back and play basketball with my buddies. I'm able to now I signed up to compete in the World Masters for cycling. Oh, now I did the what's it called? The triathlon in San Francisco. What's that? What's the jail that's in San Francisco on the island?
Alcatraz. Alcatraz.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one guy did the Alcatraz thing. So those
awesome. That's
life-changing, life-changing, because I already know you're going to get physical changes. It happens because you're following a program that's going to automatically give you that. Some that takes 6 months, some it takes 3 months, some it takes 2 months, some it takes a year, but that'll already happen. So for me, I already know that's going to happen. I want all the other stuff. I want to see guys who,
I like that.
Yeah, because those are life changing. Imagine now I can go, hiking in Colorado, which I never would have been able to do. Now some guy built his deck in his backyard, which would never be something. Other people have better relationships with their family, with their wives, right? That's a big one too. Energy, confidence, all of these things, that is results, because that's life changing, and that keeps these guys, giving them hope. Like, okay,
yeah.
Awesome. Remember, they're coming in with no hope. Like they've tried everything, or they haven't tried anything, or they just can't, whatever. But something's happening in their lives where they really need to make the change. Their why. Like today, I had someone send me their why, because that's the very first thing we start with. What is your why? Everyone has to say that. Everyone has to give that up. Whether it's in the Facebook group or whether it's just, they can send it to me. This guy sent it to me. I'm not going to say his name, but his whys were like spot on. Like it was, number one, his family members had passed away from cancer and other health diseases early. So he didn't, right? That's number one. Number two, this guy's 65. He goes, my wife is very beautiful, and people always tell her that. I, on the other hand, have a big belly, and she always points that out. I'm like, okay, that's number two. That's a perfect one. Your wife, because other guys are telling your wife she looks good, right? Other people, specifically at 55, 45, when the kids are gone, and it's just you and your wife left, and your wife's gone out, and your wife's working out. Your wife looks beautiful, and you're just still on the couch doing whatever. And now Winston, the personal trainer at gym's like, yeah, you're looking good, yeah, right?
What are you doing after workout?
Big black brother, man, you know, right? Ripped
big biceps and stuff.
Exactly. And so goes, listen, my wife looks amazing, and look at me. And then his third was he cycles with all his buddies, and his buddies are in great shape. And he wants to be able to get into that shape. Those three whys are huge. Because when you don't want to work out, or when Brenda comes to the office with donuts or whatever, and you know that you shouldn't have that, those three whys, man, if those don't keep you on point,
awesome.
Nothing will. You
know what I've learned, brother, when you mention these whys, I've learned you have to have, and it's the same. You know what I love? There's just a side note. When I talk to you guys who are professionals, I hear the same concept in different sentences. It's just the wording is different. But how I describe it is, you have to have goals with gravity.
Right. Ooh, I like that.
That's deep one, right? You got to take it. It's so deep, because when I talk to folks, I'm like, listen, and you mentioned this. I just had one of our clients. He was like, and I got two great examples. And one of the clients, he was like, the reason why he lost, I gotta calculate. He lost 25 kilograms. So that's what's 50 pounds, right?
53 or something, yeah.
53. So he completely changed, right? So, and that took him about 8 months. Yep. And you know what his moment was? He was like, folks have been telling me all day long, or just every time, man, brother, you need to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah. But there was one time where he was going to an amusement park, and there's this awesome roller coaster, and he couldn't fit in. He sat in the seats, and then the seats didn't close. And he said, that moment, I remember it like it was yesterday. And at that moment, I said, I have it. It's done. And I call these anchor moments.
Nice. Jeez.
Right? So it happens, and it has to be something that's so deep that cuts. And the beautiful thing is, it can be something beautiful, or it can be something tragic. But the moment is so strong that what you're saying, that Brenda walks in with the donuts, you're like, nah, I'm good. Oh, boy, you used to pick them. I'm good, thank you. Maybe on the weekends, but nah, I'm good, thank you.
Your why has to make you cry.
Oh, that's a good one. I love it, man.
Why has to make you cry?
Your what?
If it doesn't, it's not strong enough. Wow. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
No, man, that's it. And the same thing happened with another client, and she was a female client, and she's 52 years old, and she lost the same amount, like 45 pounds. And she said, you know what my ex-husband used to tell me? And I said, what? He said, with a woman like you, I don't even dare to go outside. And I was like, really? And she shared all these abusive stories. And then when she finally got rid of this guy, she was like, well, now I'm ready. So now she looks awesome. And I tell her this every time. And the beautiful thing is, when you are a coach, I tell her, and even the guys, I don't tell them with ulterior motives. I tell them because it springs outside of my heart. It's like, man, you look awesome, man. You look great. Look at you, man. It's crazy. So she lost that weight, and now she's saying stuff like this. She's like, when I cross the street now, I can even wear the heels again. Yeah. So I cross the street, and I see the guys at my age. You mentioned 50, 55 years old. I see the guys at my age, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling young again. And I'm like, oh, you deserve it. Look
100%,
at you.
100%. Yeah, like I tell these guys that all the time, and I don't like And again, it comes from here because I know where they're starting and I know where they're going to be. And I know that, listen, everyone looks different. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone has a different timeline. But when I see these guys, I'm like, dude, you look incredible. Like specifically from where you started, but for where you're going. Because I always see the potential. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and we have like over 10,000 members. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome, it's crazy. So I've seen this many times, right? And it's even funny because now when we're on coaching calls, you get guys who've already, like, we call them OGs. The ones one year to alpha, they've gone through 12 months. They get awesome, their own t-shirt with their name on the back. And even they start to pipe up when newer guys coming asking questions like, oh, you know, Funk, I'm thinking of, I want to get rid of this belly fat. So I'm thinking of like doing some either like fasting or carb cycling or whatever. And I'm like, dude, just stick with the
trust the system,
the process, trust it. And then someone else will come on and go, yeah, I was in the same boat. Funk told me the same thing, but I didn't listen. And then 3 months later, Funk continued to say the same thing. I made the change and it just dropped like that. It's like, trust the system. There is a time and place to fast, but where he's asking, your body needs to just get good nutrition in 3 meals a day. That's it. That's all you need.
Amen.
Healthy starchy carb, healthy fat for your testosterone, healthy starchy carb for your metabolism and your energy and your muscles. Protein, obviously we need protein for the building blocks of our bones.
Yeah.
And of course, vegetables and fruits for the micronutrients.
Yeah.
Non-negotiable. Every time you look at that plate, you better have all those 4.
You better have them all.
Or else I'm slapping the plate out of your hand.
Oh, you saw. Hey, there's one of these videos. You probably see one of these viral videos where a bodybuilder, a huge dude, he walks into the camera follows him, so he walks into the McDonald's or whatever have you. So he walks inside of it, no shirt on, and the dude is a tank. So he walks inside of it, the camera follows him. So he kicks open the door, everybody's there. So I think that's his client. I don't know if it's staged or not, but it looks awesome. So the guy's holding his donut, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Boom, and slaps the donut out of it. "What did I tell you to do?" And he's like, I'm sorry. No! And you know what he says? I love it. He grabs him and he's like, "It's a life and death situation." And I was like, that's what it is, man. Oh, you got to see that. How do you got to see that?
I have to, because that's literally what I want to say every single time.
Life
or death, buddy. Love it. Love it. Oh my God. I got to find that.
Oh, amen. I'll look it up. Okay. And you know what's awesome is you're saying, man, you're saying the same thing. I love it. That's why I love it when I think I tend to gravitate to folks who are kind of like on my vibe, right? On my level. So what you're saying is there is a time to fast. So I was like, and we get the same questions like, "Oh, do I got to do the 23-1 or, you know, the intermittent fast?" I'm like, hey, listen, skipping a meal, I mean, that may be a good thing because then you don't get those calories that you usually get, which may lead to a deficit. That's a good thing. But where you're at right now in your journey, just make sure you get your apple. Just make sure you get your veggies. Don't worry about leaving the meal. That's advanced stuff.
Totally.
Just make sure you get your bottle of water and maybe try skipping before you skip a meal. Try to skip, just upgrade the meal. It's like I had one of our clients. He's like, you know, I used to grab a microwave food, right? And you know, back in the day, I was like, that's right. You don't do that. But then, you know, and you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, Toronto.
So I got the coaching from Precision Nutrition, and that's a Canadian-based company, and they're awesome. So what they say is like, listen, microwave, we all know, not the best thing, right? But I know, you know, with my coaching experience, I know where he's at right now. So telling him to skip the microwave won't do any good because he's not at the readiness stage where he's able to start cooking. He's not. So I'm like, okay, the next time you grab a microwave food, right, make sure it has some greens in it.
Right. Yeah.
Just basics, right?
Yeah, the basics. Yeah, totally. I mean, that's knowing where they're at. You know, again, I deal with men over 40, 50, 60, 70. Most of these guys, cooking is not, unless they're a chef, cooking is not their number one.
Unless they're not,
It's not their number one thing. So I make it very simple for them. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. Here's a list of all the foods that are gonna help with your metabolism, your testosterone. Okay, here's that list, and here's a list of foods to stay away from, right? Because there's a lot of healthy foods, but not healthy for men over 40. Because remember, our goal is testosterone, keeping estrogen levels low, keeping cortisol levels low, keeping our keeping our metabolism going through the thyroid. So I just say, listen, here's that list. Before the beginning of the week, or when you're meal prepping, just choose your 2 or 3 go-to starchy carbs you're going to eat that week. Don't try to make this a whole production. Just like what are your go-to carbs? What are your go-to proteins? Fats are generally like avocado or coconut or whatever. So fats, you're going to keep that. And then vegetables and fruits too, depending on what you're going to eat. You can't buy all the vegetables and keep them there for the whole week. But if you have your go-tos, so like that's another thing that we do. Another ritual in the brotherhood is we post our foods, right? So we post the food and then they break it down. Here's my carb, here's my healthy fat, here's my protein, and here's my vegetables and fruits. So for them, it's accountability. For everyone else,
accountability. Yeah.
So I always post my foods in there because I showed them I walk the walk. And a lot of times, like my breakfast is the same thing every morning. And then if it's a week, I tell them, listen, this week it's black rice and sweet potato. That's my starchy carb. And then of course, because I just got Butcher Box, I cooked a whole bunch of organic chicken. So you're going to see that all the time. Avocados a go-to. And what may change is I may have salad, or I may have, cooked kale or what have you. But then I post my meals and you can see it's literally the same because I just keep it simple for that week.
Simple. Yeah.
I meal prep and I keep it. I don't try to do this huge production of trying to change things. What is your go-to carbs this week? What can you cook this week that you can get it? Is it sweet potatoes? Is it mashed sweet potatoes? What is it? What's going to be your go-to breakfast? Or your go-to, is it steel cut oats, or is it cream of wheat, or are you going to go with the eggs every morning? Or is it a smoothie that you make sure has, like the steel cut oats, our lean pro 30 protein, water, berries, fruits, and almond butter. Like, you know what I mean? That's it. And it's just
hungry, man. It's just all talking out.
I know.
My stomach's not certain. Like,
I want to keep it simple so they know that it's a lifestyle, so that you can eat this way anywhere in the world, because I travel quite a bit, and my wife and I are able to eat the same way, whether we're at a cottage, whether we're in Thailand, whether we're in Australia, because we know that we just need a source of starchy carb, healthy fat, protein, vegetables, and fruits, and we're good. And anywhere restaurant, not fast food, but any restaurant you go to, you can get that. So I don't want these guys to have to be thinking that, oh, I'm going somewhere or whatever, I can't really eat that healthy. Or they go to a party and there's a big buffet, they can still pick and choose and make sure that they eat healthy if they choose to. Because of course, sometimes you want guilt-free meals, but it's a lifestyle. I don't want them to be reading diet plans and trying to figure out. It's just look at your plate and make sure you have all of those things on your plate. Then we'll focus on a little bit more of like, oh, you need to be eating more carbs, or you need to be eating more of this. It's the behavior of what's on that plate that is going to fuel and feed your hormones and of course muscle growth and metabolism, so you burn fat. And they love it because it's like, man, I've never thought I would be eating so many carbs and still be losing weight. Because carbs is your thyroid, buddy. You need it. Energy. I understand, because in the industry, we don't focus on men. We focus on over 40 is just mostly women. It's just over 40. And then, you've got things like tofu and a lot of soy products, which men cannot have because it's too estrogenic. So I get it. I understand or do keto, or do paleo, or do this, or do that, or low carb, low fat. You're all over the South Beach diet. You're all over the place.
Confusing, man. It's confusing.
Right. And so what I try to do is just make it okay. Listen, some of those things work for other people, but for us, it's not going to work. We need, specifically as we get older, we need to focus on obviously healthy nutrition that's going to help feed our hormones. Because once we do that, the byproduct is six-pack abs, muscle, energy, better health, overall health, libido. All of those things come with that nutrition. But that's just part of it. You still got to get your sleep to keep cortisol levels. We only work out
The
4
huge
days
picture.
a week.
Yeah.
We only work out 4 days a week, 30-minute workouts, metabolic workouts. We do mobility in between. So our rest days is yoga mobility, because the other thing is we want to stay injury free. That's my other goal, is I got to keep these guys injury free. There's nothing worse than having a program and every second someone's like, I injured my shoulder, I injured my elbow, I injured my knee, I did this, I did that. Like, as a coach whose program is all online and our follow along workouts, the worst thing I want is all these guys to be getting injured. They're already at a point where the margin of error is here, right? Like, we can't train the way we used to. So we can get in the best shape, but our margin isn't like this before, where we can go, damn.
You know, check this out, man. I'm taking so many notes, man. I love it. You know what I hear when I hear you talk, and this is where I see my focus on the. It's not a contrary. It's just maybe I'm a little bit more broad, because in my sense, I love it. You have the focus, men over 40. Typically overweight, obese. You want to get back into shape. You want to get your energy up. You got to watch some certain foods. I love it. And in my approach, sometimes I just talk to guys or folks, women, and we have more women than guys, but the guys are catching up, which I really love, especially in the coaching in the studio. So I'm like, what I try to do, because that's the approach that I got from PN, is just getting them to start upgrading their decisions. Just like, listen, like I said with the microwave, it's like, yeah, I got it, brother. But we know we want to change something. So what are you willing to change on a continuous level? Well, I'm willing to do blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no. That's way too much. And let me give you that example of one client where I was like, after 2 months, or 1.5 months, we were sitting down. He was like, okay, listen, Gregory, I've lost about 1.5 kilos, right? So I was expecting more. And I was like, I love these guys. I love, and he's very friendly. He was not hostile. He's just, I love it. He's about 50 years old and I'm 37. So sometimes I talk to these guys, which are really, I've learned, my father taught me, you got to respect the elderly, right? So I'm always like, I try to help them, and I don't want to be like this, I'm 14 years younger, so better shut up, man. What do you want to say, right? But I try to help them. So he's like, what are you going to say about this? So then we were talking back and forth, and then, I remember PN saying, sometimes you got to give him some truth bombs. And then I was like, okay, listen, Marcus is his name. I was like, Marcus, listen, Marcus, how much are you walking right now? Just on average. And he's like, well, and I'm like, I see it in the app, because he connected his watch and he has a watch that tracks his steps. So I was like, okay, you're at 2,000 to 3,000 steps per day, which is great. I love it, because you've upgraded your steps, right? But, one of our more active clients is 10,000. He was like, 10,000? I was like, yeah. And I sometimes get 18 to 25,000. He was like, really? I was like, yeah. So how's your visit? So how's your visit to the butchers and stuff? He's like, yeah, I stopped eating that, but I still. So to make a long story short, he was like, well, we still have air. In German, there's a word, air. There's still room left, right? There's still some room left. I was like, there's enough room left for change, but we have to acknowledge, I have to work with what you are willing to change. I cannot sit here and tell you, do 10,000 steps a day. He was having a hard time just getting one workout session per week, because he was such a busy person. And I told him from the get-go, I was like, Marcus, you're motivated, you're enthusiastic, I love it. But let's just cut it down to one workout per week. He was like, yeah, but I want to do your package with 3 workouts per week. I was like, no, we just got to settle for one, because I want to build a habit first. And sometimes even weeks passed without him coming to the gym. And so I texted him without being angry. I was like, Marcus, I just want to let you know your coach is thinking about you. That's it. And then you have to work with what people are willing to invest.
Yes, 100%. You want to set them up for success. That's why you pulled back to
set
one.
Him up, yeah.
Right? You pull back to one so that at least he can see some success. Jesus, from 0? Here's the thing, though. On the contrary, I'm a truth bomb brother man. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like my guys know I don't fluff. I just tell them, listen, dude, this is what you have to do. Period. End of story. Okay. We're not like whenever they ask the questions, and sometimes Rick has to pull me back because I get very passionate.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't.
I got you, man.
I'm done with the days of kind of like giving them a little room because if they take, you give an inch, they'll take a
That's
mile.
the other side.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, and
Yeah,
they'll
you're right.
but the good thing about men, which is what I've learned, is if you give them a plan, they will follow it. They will follow it much more than women in my experience because I've have a women of strength program and I had to pull the shoot on me being part of it because I just couldn't take it. It was just too much. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't. How do I get? Like it was insane. I'm like, I can't do this, man.
I can't do this.
Like I gave that to my cousin.
We're all made for something, brother, right? That's it. We got to stick to what we're good at.
Yeah, but these guys are great, man. They'll follow it. They'll follow it to the T. Okay, today's my workout. Today's my recovery. Okay, this is what I'm gonna eat. Like, which is beautiful because that does set them up for success. But I try not to give them room to wiggle because they'll take it. And I'm trying to get them to get results. So a lot of the times when I come back at them with the answer, it is always like, listen, I know that's not the answer you want to hear, man, but that is the answer. So there is no if, ands, or buts about it. That's what you're gonna do if you want success.
Amen. You know what you're saying is Dan John says this. He said it, and I take it from him. He said, "A good coach doesn't always give." Now, what is it? A good coach doesn't always give you what you want, but he always gives you what you need.
1,000,000%. And I learned that through my professional athletic career because I used to play professional beach volleyball and indoor volleyball at the highest levels.
Wow.
I played FIVB, I played AVP, I played indoor in Switzerland. That's where the whole
Yeah.
for the Chinois team. That's in Geneva, Genève, Chinois.
Genève, yeah.
Genève, yeah. Thank you. So,
yeah, that's the French. Yeah.
yes. And I also fought Muay Thai, professional Muay Thai in Thailand. So but most of my whole career was volleyball, right? So starting when I was 14, I'm so lucky I had a coach who invested in imagery and all of the mindset stuff. And one of the things that he taught us was that when you are tired, I'm going back to when you talked about being, now I'm flipping everything back about your long cycle and how you pre-exhaust. And when you did it when you were exhausted and you were still able to have that technique, that is huge because whenever you're tired or whenever you're fatigued, you always go back to your old habits.
Amen.
Always.
Amen.
So conditioning and cardio was really big for that coach. Even though we were younger, it was very big for that coach. So we'd be doing all these things to get us tired, Kajiba, doing running lines back and forth. And then we have to, okay, now we're in game situation. You got to pass. You got to set. And at the beginning, you're dropping your elbows when you're hitting. You're getting blocked. Your passes all over the place. And he instilled that as 14-year-olds, 15. Wow. I had him as a coach until I was like 17 or 18. It was like non-negotiable that it's the conditioning. And the reason why we didn't, on paper, our team wasn't very good. We didn't have big 6'10" guys. We had a very small, like I'm 52. So when I played, the tallest guys in volleyball were like 6'5". Now it's 10, 6'11", and they can do everything. But when I played, they're a lot smaller, but still taller. But we would win all the time because in those situations where you're in the fifth set and your teams are tired, or you can see guys breaking mentally, they're breaking because they just got blocked. They're tired. So they make these little stupid mistakes. But when you're conditioned and when you condition yourself to do things that are technical, when you're fatigued, then it becomes the habit of during practice and you're doing those things when you're tired. Then when it comes game time or time when you have to actually put this into practice, you're fine, right? You're in a better situation. You're in a better situation. That's why so after that career, I started to train fighters. Right? I started to train MMA fighters, UFC, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestlers, all types of fighters. That's what I kind of was known for at the beginning, Funk MMA. And I wanted to be the guy who if you went on my funkmma.com or went on YouTube and you saw a workout, you knew that you could use that workout to help you with your conditioning. That was my goal. I didn't want to be like big UFC, guy. I just wanted to the guy in Germany who's in his basement who's doing kickboxing but doesn't have a massive gym where he can get all of the equipment, could still go to Funk MMA and know that I'm going to use this bodyweight workout or this kettlebell workout or whatever dumbbell workout, and it's going to help me with my conditioning. That was my goal, to be the underground strength and conditioning coach, right? So when I'm training all of the fighters, when I train them brick and mortar, my goal is to try to break them, right? Because they have to get comfortable, and they have to be able to get through those very tough workouts. After jiu-jitsu, okay, we're doing a 30-minute, 45-minute conditioning, right? And I'm going to push you, and you're going to be there. You're going to be doing Tabata. You're going to finish off your conditioning with Tabata burpees, right? And when your body's already at a your muscles are already full of blood, and you're trying to do Tabata burpees, it sounds easy, but it's so difficult. But I'm there to knock you, and you don't stop. That type of training you have to do, because in a fight, in those situations, you need to be able to perform. You need to be able to form your technique. You need to form all of that stuff.
I love it, man.
So you saying that about in times of when you're training in fatigue and training pre-exhausted, again, this is because you're in competition, right? You're in a competition mode. This is not for everybody. I'm not going to tell my guys.
I just wanted to chime in. I love it, Funk, because what you're actually describing now to me, what it sounds like is, it sounds like GPP and SPP. So you have this is the Russian training concept, where like GPP is general physical performance. So if you have an MMA fighter and he does his GPP, that would be, let's just say, like a kettlebell, a simple kettlebell workout, because he needs to get his general physical prep up, right? You got to be strong, got to be fit, and all that stuff. But SPP is specific physical preparation. So SPP1 would be the MMA fighter, the striking, the grappling, the jiu-jitsu stuff, the boxing stuff, and all that stuff, right? Yeah. And choke angle, choke holds, or whatever. Right. But what you are describing now, what sounds to me like SPP2. So it's like, and I love that you said this, because it's like, when you do these massive burpees at the end, they can be destructive for people who are not going into that competition, or who don't need to be in that setting. So it is an SPP2 training, specific physical performance 2, because it's for MMA fighters. Because normally we're like, you don't want to destroy yourself where you cannot breathe anymore. Yeah, that's too much. But why are you doing it to the MMA guys? Because they need it in the ring.
100%.
That's 100%. The big difference.
Because cardio is conditioning, and cardio will make or break a fighter. The fighters who are the most successful have the conditioning to go 3, 4, 5 rounds without stopping. So, and the guys who mentally break, because it's not just about physical, that's a mental as well, right?
Mental game.
Let me see where your heart is, man, because we just finished 40 minutes of this crazy training. Now we're going to finish off with 4 minutes of burpees, or we may just do 4 minutes straight of burpees, whatever it is, right? We're going to do Tabata burpees. Tabata burpees, yeah. So you're gonna do as many burpees as you can for 20 seconds, and 10 seconds you're gonna rest. Yeah, the first 2 or 3 rounds may not be tough, but it's the 4, 5. Tabata. It's 4 or 5 punch you in the mouth. Yeah, and then 6 and 7 is hard. 6, 7, and 8 is just hard. It's just like, it's just hard. Most people will break it. I'm just talking about at a situation where, okay, we're doing the burpees because you still want to be explosive near the end of the fight. We're also doing these burpees because you need that endurance. And finally, we're doing these burpees at this point because mentally we got to get you ready, because most times this is where you're going to break. You're going to feel like you can't give any more, but you can give any more, because we just trained that.
That's the idea.
Because when they're doing the burpees, they're going to be saying, I can't do it, Funk. Yes, you can. Boom, get down. You can do it. And they can get themselves through. They may not be unbroken, but they still, maybe they only get four burpees in round 7, but they're not.
The idea is, I want to see it.
Yes.
Right. So that's the SPP mentality. It's not form. It's not at that level with that much, with that high acidity in your blood where you can't even move anymore. It's not about performance. I want to see your heart.
Yes.
I want to see your mental game.
Yes.
And that's where, and I think the beautiful thing is if you don't tell the guys this up front, you're like, okay, we just do it. And then you see that one guy who's pushing through without saying anything. And he's just doing maybe, let's say, like 2 to 3 burpees, but he doesn't complain. And he's just working on his breathing, and he's almost dying, but he's working, he's trying to perfect his breathing. He's like, okay, maybe I do 2 burpees, but I gotta do it. That's the guy or the gal. That's the heart, man.
I can't believe you just said that. Listen, every year, pre-COVID, I went to Tiger Muay Thai. I don't know if any of you.
I saw that. I saw these videos in Thailand. I was like, woo! That's, I gotta be there one day, man.
Totally. You gotta come. So usually I do a seminar or a workout with fighters, right? So these are all fighters. These are guys from all over the world, and I put them through hell. That workout's a hell through hell, and. At home, when I used to train fighters, the level, is all over the place, but this is high level. So now you're seeing that I'm trying to break these Russians. I'm trying to break all of these guys, Brazilians, but even then you can see, and there's a couple of guys who are now in the UFC who are now fighting at a high level or champions that didn't break during that time. They're still going like, geez, this guy's still going. Now it's near the end, so it may not be the greatest technique, but he's still going. He's not finishing. He's not finishing, right? And that's amazing, man. It's an incredible feeling for a coach or for a trainer to see that, to see the heart and to see they're still, my goal during the time, because when I coach, I walk around and I try to change, like helping them with their technique, knowing that they're fatigued. So I just, cues. Come on, remember, you push off with that front leg, if it's a lunge, or maybe doing goblet lunges, right? But now it's like round 6. So their lunge isn't going to be beautiful. The kettlebell is going to be coming down.
Upper body leaning forward.
Yeah. Kettlebell up, engage your core, keep the core tight. Remember, you need that balance. I know you're tired, but just push off with that front leg. Don't let that front leg drag. Don't let that front leg drag as they keep coming up. That's my goal. Their goal is just to survive. Because they're dying. My goal is to keep the technique in their head. So at least they still have that technique. So when they're in the ring and they're dying and their coach says, throw that 1-2 down the pipe, it's bam, bam. Because they're used to listening to some cues when they're fatigued. They're used to, yes, when they're fatigued. And so I do that in general, whether it's just a fitness, maybe it's just a fitness class. So now I used to do retreats. And I treat my retreat people just like I would treat fighters, right? So if we're doing a tough workout, again, I have to go in and kind of technique and just cues, little cues.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can see when when you're fatigued, that's when the injuries will come too, right? So you just have to make sure that, let me just give you a couple of things to make sure that you're just thinking about stuff. I know you're just trying to get it done, but let me just give you this, hips, guys, hips. When you're doing the swing, it's hips.
Yeah.
Drive with your hips, explode, legs, then all of a sudden you can see that they get a little bit of energy again and they're able to keep going. But I treat both the same, because even when they're fatigued and even when they're listening to those cues will come in handy in different times in their lives. Wow. It doesn't have to be even the workout. Yeah. Sometimes it could be anything. It could be anything.
Amen.
Yeah. You hear that and
chest up when life gives you some punches, chest up. And that's what I experienced. Brother, let me tell you, that's what I experienced, man. When this happened with my brother, I was like, it hits, it's like boom, it's a shock, right? Yeah. So then after the shock subsides, you're like, okay, now we gotta keep just one focus. Just praying and staying strong. That's the first mountain that my brother survives. Right. That they're not call me up, that they call us up and was like, listen, we did everything we could.
Right.
But that was the first mountain and we passed it. So now we're on the second mountain, right? Because we've climbed a couple of mountains now. Yeah. And now we are at the mountains of the organs. Right? The liver's not looking good, the kidney's not looking good, right? So and I sent my sister a WhatsApp message that she's playing for him tomorrow. Where, my sisters be like, hey, brother, we love Jimmy. His name's Christian, but we call him Jimmy, right? So we love you. You just got to say, blah, blah, blah. But I said in the message, listen, brother, you just got to fight. Listen, it's a life and death situation. That's what it is. It's not, can I or will I or I want to. And it's, you have to, because Your kids are counting on you. The family's counting on you. And we do what we can. The family's here to give you the love, the support. We stick together in prayer so that maybe the Almighty God, his hand is moving as well. You have a great team of doctors around you and nurses who take care of you. They're professionals. So it's on your part now.
Totally.
You have to stick through. You have to punch through. That's what it is.
So Sarah, who is my right-hand woman when it comes to my business, she's 30. She has cancer, right? Second time in the back. So my conversations with Sarah it's been a year now, so she still can't walk, but she's slowly, getting better. But those are my conversations with her. But my conversations are, you gotta. It's like, no, listen, man, it's fight time, girl. Like I'm hard. It's fight night. Like this is yeah. I know you had an emotional day and you were crying, but get over it. Now we got to get back in there. Yes, you can have those days, 100%.
Yes, you need them. You need them.
You gotta. You've opened up some room for more fight now. You got rid of this to open up room for more fight.
Most definitely.
Right. So you're just getting rid of the tough day, whatever. Okay, great. We got rid of that. Your body wanted to let go so that you can bring more fight inside you to fight for this next, whatever it is, 3 days, 10 days, whatever it is that your body needs you to have some room to fight, because you can't have both going at the same time. So you got to let go of those emotions for sure. And then include the fight. So,
there's a time to cry.
So I love that because everyone else will be saying those things like your sisters are saying, but you are saying what he needs to do.
Yeah, and it's loving. It's and my mother as well. That's why I took the responsibility, because my mother's like, she's having very, very tight, her skin. She's just any information that doesn't sound like hope is almost destroying her dreams, right? Almost destroying her. So I'm like, I take this, and doesn't mean that I can handle it every time. But I'm taking this, man. Yes. I told my father, I'm taking this. I'm the youngest, but I'm old enough. I know my sisters are also caught up in emotional stuff as well. Right. I am, in my family, I'm not only the guy who has been able to financially reach a level that has never been reached before, or with a success level that hasn't been reached before, but I'm also here to now. So that's what I told my mother today as we were driving to the hospital. I was like, see, that's why I'm so grateful that I risked 5 years ago to go into it full time, because now I'm independent. I can choose my time and I can choose my battles. So I'm like, that's why I told the YouTube guys, I told our community, our clients, everybody, I said, listen, when I got it, wear the cape, I'm gone. I'm gone.
Superman's got to do some stuff right now.
And I hope you guys understand.
Yeah, hold on to the fort that Superman's coming. Superman's going to
most definitely.
But also, you have to, at the end of this, I'm sure people will have told you, at the end of all this, when everything is great again and everything's back to, whatever it is, you got to take care of yourself. You got to talk to somebody. Like, jump in there, get on a couch and talk to somebody so they can help you release all of this stuff, because sometimes, yes, we're superheroes when we need to be, but we also have to be able to let that go and have someone else help us during the time, because we don't know everything and we're not always superheroes. And there's a time to be a lion and there's a time lion and a lamb. Time to be a lion and time to be a lamb. Yeah. The lion you need to be right now, but then there's a lamb that needs to come out of you. Who will be there to go, okay, I need your help I need to get rid of this stuff. So help me for the next month or two. But here, hold on. I don't know how much time we have left.
We went for a full hour without even talking about kettlebells, brother.
I know exactly.
I love it, man. I love it.
So I want to tell the story about how I came to know you and see you, and so here I am on YouTube, and I'm watching you critique
Kettlebell Chaos.
No, not that one yet.
Not that one. Oh, okay.
I watched a few of yours. What's her name? Jillian Michaels was the first one. And I was like, I love this guy. Right off the bat, I said, I love this guy. He's talking the truth. And your reactions, everything were like amazing. So I went down the rabbit hole of 3 or 4 of yours. Right?
Ooh,
yeah. So I feel
honored.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is great. I'm watching it, and you're just critiquing it, but you're critiquing everybody. And then I saw Kettlebell Chaos. I'm like, oh no, are you kidding me? This guy chaos on Kettlebell. So I started to, before I even press it, I'm like, he doesn't even realize this was so long ago. Like, I'm not even like that. Like, I'm trying to, like, in my head, prepare myself for when I'm going to hear you go, oh my God, look at this guy. And then it was great. I mean, yeah, you had some critiques, which is great, but it was like, okay, I'm all right. This is awesome.
I love it, man.
I love this guy. This is amazing. He's incredible. Awesome. I ran down. I told my wife. I was just like, you know, it was such a, it was such a great
I love
feeling. Because remember, I just gone through you destroying everybody, right? And now it's me. I'm like, oh, here we go. Let me see what's gonna happen. Let me see. And I take criticism good. I'm okay. I can take it. All right. When I heard what you said and everything, I was like, all right, this is good. So I started to watch more of your stuff, and just love the way you have all types of videos, great training videos, great training. And then I jumped on that live because I saw you on the live.
Oh, that was awesome.
And, I loved it. I love your style of training and the way you teach and coach. And so, yeah, when I went on, it was like I was excited to come out. I was excited to see what you were talking about. It wasn't like, let me see. I literally saw you were live. I went on and reached out and yeah, I love what you do, man. I really do. I think what you're doing is great, and I'm so happy that I found you on YouTube. And I'll tell you a story about kettlebells and myself, because for me, I got certified probably like 10 or 12 years ago, because when I was 39, I had low testosterone. I was suffering. I was posting on YouTube, but I was big and puffy, right? I was a big puffy guy. So I always wore a shirt, even though, I'm posting these bro split type workouts, and, I had a big belly. So I also had to hide my belly. Then I got into, drugs and drinking and because I had to mask my manhood. I wasn't feeling like a man. So at that point, my libido was down, and the girl that I was seeing, she left me because I literally wouldn't have sex with her because I just didn't feel like having sex. In the other way, I'm doing drugs, going to strip joints, doing all of these things to kind of mask my manhood. But I didn't realize what was happening. I couldn't lose. So I'm going to the gym even more, and I'm doing cardio even more, and I'm going on low carb, low fat, all these crazy diets. Nothing's happening. And I'm literally at a point where I don't care anymore, giving up. And then when I went to the doctor told me it was my testosterone. That's when I was like, oh, okay, so I can do something about this. Like, it's not like I'm 40 and I'm doomed. And then at that point, a friend of mine who was into kettlebells, Ryan Shanahan.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can do whatever you need.
No, brother, listen. If I just may
do whatever you need to do with that one, okay?
if I may interject just a second, please keep your thought, brother. Keep your thoughts about Ryan Shanahan. Listen. When I do these critique videos, I started out, but please keep your thought, right?
Yeah.
I just started out with this idea of, hey, I did one of these videos, it went great, so I tried to follow the algorithm.
Right.
So then I tried to cut it up and edit it out so that it gets a lot of exposure, a lot of views, and I got one of these hits with the Jillian Michaels stuff.
Oh, that was great.
And then I kind of now I kind of pulled back a little with. I still think critique is great because I believe even what I do, I believe in the method of science. I try to prove my own theories wrong.
Right.
I try to prove my stuff wrong. So if my stuff survives the onslaught of experts' opinions, then I can say, well, that stuff seems solid. That's what science does, right? We all come together. I have an idea. Well, let's put it in the marketplace of ideas and let's see if it survives, right? So then I pulled myself back a little bit with my emotional attributes, because I was like, I think people want it. But then I found out a little bit like, wow, people actually watch more of the videos where I'm just a little bit more reserved. I mean, on video, we're always like, wow, right? But not overkill. So even in the reactions, I pulled back a little bit.
I saw that.
Yeah. So when I saw Ryan, I was like, and people asked me about Ryan. So I was like, well, he's at least he's moving kettlebells. He's
Okay.
right, but
Yeah.
you know, coming from the place where I'm from, you know, being certified from all these guys, and with the kettlebell performance, with Steve Carter, Dan John, and Strong First, and being really, and with Denis Vazlev, with the Russians, being really intricated and indoctrinated with the kettlebell in and all by itself. I'm like, well, I'm always saying this. Yes, you can, but doesn't mean you should. I got it from Dan. If you do funny stuff with the kettlebell, well, and then Ryan even posted something. And I asked him, I sincerely asked him, Funk. I said, listen, Ryan, please just give me your feedback. Why are you doing certain type of exercises, which I believe are a complete waste of time? But please, maybe you are now saying something, or I'm just paraphrasing, but maybe you are offering a perspective that I didn't see before. Because we know, right? Sometimes we don't see the forest for the trees.
Totally.
But then he stopped engaging. So I was like, okay, well, just leave it at that.
Okay, so Ryan was the one who introduced me to kettlebells. He introduced me to I didn't get my certification through him, but he just introduced me to the power of kettlebells.
Which is awesome, man.
I have a workout with him on the beach, where I was very, very. I didn't even have my.
I saw that one. And you know what the funny thing is, Funk? Just funny. I was watching that. I was like, that's Funk.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was like, that's Funk. Wow.
Yeah, that was like literally my first like engagement with kettlebells.
Wow.
I didn't even know really. I mean, he was teaching me a little bit of stuff, but I didn't really know. Right. And so, but I did feel the difference of kettlebell training at that time and how it was starting to change my body. So literally, like I said, remember I was 215, puffy. I literally took the Kettlebell 300. Do you know that workout, the Kettlebell 300? It's posted on YouTube. It's like old. It's old. It's very old. So
I think I know which one.
Yeah. Kettlebell 300 meltdown or something.
Yeah.
That workout, I literally did that workout 3 to 4 times a week because I started to see the difference in my body. My transformation was changing to metabolic training instead of bro splits. That's number one. Obviously changing my nutrition. But using kettlebells was really the reason for that transformation. I got lean. I got ripped for the first time. I never really had abs ever since. Well, maybe when I was playing volleyball, but even then. So that was huge for me. And so I got my certification through a Jamu Bernard.
And what kind of certification was that, Funk?
It was more of a hardstyle training.
Hardstyle, right? Strong. Yeah. Was that RKC?
It wasn't RKC and it wasn't Strong First. It was kind of like
something. Right.
Yeah, because he was RKC guy, but you know,
he did his own thing.
He did his own thing, right. And so, because again, kettlebells were very new in the industry. Like they weren't. It wasn't like now. Yeah. But for me, it was great. For me, it was. Well, I mean, man, it was life changing. Honestly, it was a life changer because not only did it change me physically, but then I used kettlebells a lot in my earlier years of training, you know, with fighters, with fitness people, with my programs, like Kettlebell for Fighters, and you know, my Spartacus workout program had kettlebells in it. And I remember shooting it at a place where this guy was was a RK. I think it was he Strong First? I think he was Strong First. But I shot at his gym, and I was shooting a actual follow along workout, Spartacus workout. And I remember he was like, I don't know if I want to do this, man, because you're using a kettlebell. I don't know if you know how to use it, and I don't want my thing to be associated with it. And I totally understood. I'm like, no, dude, I know how to use a kettlebell. Like I'm literally, trust me, I know what's going on here. I'm not, you know, I'm not doing other stuff. I'm doing the real kettlebell training. Like,
not other stuff.
Yeah. So he's like, oh man, that workout was awesome. And he's like, you can come back and use this anytime. And so awesome. You know, it was amazing. But I just. Again, one of those pieces of equipment where, like, if I was stranded on an island, it would be a kettlebell, right?
Yeah,
100%. There's so 100%. Much you can do. I don't use 100%. As much anymore because the pandemic threw a wrench in everything. Because I was getting ready to introduce kettlebell training to my men over 40 because I believe kettlebell training for men over 40, 56 is another great piece of equipment that brings out even dynamic and mobility and strength and metabolic fat loss and definitely. There's so much, man. There's so much
So
dynamic and just the ways, the muscles and the movement, right? The core and your movement patterns, right? Moving on all planes of motion that a lot of guys won't get generally. But the pandemic happened and I realized, oh shit, a lot of these guys were using my workouts at the gym, right? Because my workouts inside my program are body weight and dumbbells, the main ones, right? And they're metabolic workouts and they're all follow along. But I realized that, I better have to go back in and do another 12 months of just body weight. So those people who don't have equipment can use no equipment. But then after the pandemic was done, I'm like, okay, now these guys want dumbbells. They want to build muscle. They want to get lean. They want to build muscle. Now I did another 12 months of dumbbell training. But we also have a Kettlebell Spartan Academy that my wife has jumped on because she just got her advanced certification through Kettlebell Kings, through Marcus Martinez, who I love. I love Marcus Martinez, a very good coach. And for him the way he coached Angela through his online certification course was amazing. Like, she's incredible. So she's taken over the Kettlebell Spartan Academy.
Awesome.
Her awesome workouts are great. But I do want to reintroduce. The only thing is you got to go through the technical side, right? Like you got to teach these guys how to use kettlebells, right? And so that is definitely going to be something that I'm going to reintroduce, in 2022, is kind of like you're going to do a boot camp, 1 week of kettlebell training, technique stuff. Yeah. It's going to be online, but to learn the basics, and then we're going to add that in. But I'm telling you, man, I love kettlebell training. It's
just one of a kind. Yeah. What the kettlebell does. Yeah. And brother, let me know whenever you need some technique stuff that I could do for your academy. And brother, let me tell you, I do it for free. I do it for free because I love what you do, and I would love to just put something together, something easy for your academy in one small video. You just let me know, and I'll do it.
I love it.
And you know the reason, and you're actually mentioning some great aspects. You know, when the kettlebell, the way I understand it now is you have such a powerful tool, yet especially when we start working with ballistic, swing, clean, snatch, then it can get massively complicated for people.
Totally. Yes.
Especially for people who can't even do a push-up or a squat, right? So it's just starting with the ultimate basics first, right? Kinesthetic stance, just building, feeling your back, just doing a solid squat, right? And then, mobility. So many people are tight upper body, many people are tight in the hips, so we all know that. But what I found works best, what I always do, is when it comes to kettlebells, a deadlift, a single hand press, or a double. That's what I said when you asked me, right? A double handed press, and then just a body weight squat. One of our clients, she lost 40 pounds with deadlift, press, squat.
Wow.
Done. And then we just switch to the swings. And depending on the kinesthetic stance, some people have a lot of trouble with the swings, so then it maybe, or the clean or whatever have you. And then we just try to really, it's in the coaching session, we have so many drills and so many ways to teach people the kettlebell. But what you're saying is 100% right. It is a powerful tool, but you have to understand it, especially when you start getting into the advanced stuff.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why I use our live workouts as some sort of a segue into our 90 Days of Kettlebells program. Because in our live workouts, we go balls to the walls and use technical stuff. Because I told Angie, my wife, her name's Angie as well. So I told her, So I told her, I was like, listen, when we go live, it's not about a typical follow along workout. It's you follow us what we do, but you follow our regime and routine.
Right.
So if that's too advanced, which it is for many people, then why not choose the easy to understand beginners program?
Beautiful.
And that's the tricky thing about kettlebells. And I think a solid coach, that's why you're saying it, a solid coach mentions this and says, listen, swings, the biomechanics of a swing, the ballistic aspect, the how you can work your posterior chain. That's why I love when I saw the Kettlebell Chaos, because you're mentioning all the buzzwords, but they're true.
Yes,
working
totally.
the posterior chain ballistically and getting a nice stretch in your glutes and your hammies, getting to feel them. Then when you pop up, you have to. I love it. I always call it when you work the swing, and I've built some my own interpretations of it. When you go into a swing, you have the acceleration coming from your hams, your glutes, and your lower back, right? But when you're on top in the plank position where the kettlebell reaches the apex at chest level.
Yeah.
Pavel calls it breathing behind the shield and kettlebell kime, right? The tension. I call it you got to brace to break, right? Because the acceleration that's coming from behind, if you don't engage a stop or a break mechanism, then first of all, you're overreaching. That's one of the things, you're overreaching. Or even worse, the shear forces on your spine will make it very hard for you.
Right.
And that's what I learned from Professor McGill. He's like, listen, some people may have shear sensitivity.
Right.
They may feel it depending on their genetic potential or how they're built. They may feel shear forces in their swing. And I feel it in my single hand hardstyle swing with my left hand. I fear my spine is flaring a little bit. Other side, no problem. Hybrid swing, no problem. Kettlebell sports swing, no problem. But and that's when you understand, right? You got to really go deep with kettlebells.
100%. I love that you just said that because, hey, Stu McGill, big for me because I'm also a core condition specialist. So I have to go through to get certified for core conditioning. Again, when I was training fighters, core conditioning, kettlebell, all of those things were part of my training. But when I do swings, because I have that shear, I have lordosis and scoliosis. So when I do the swing, I actually tuck my elbows in because that so I can still get power. I can still get huge power on my swing, but I keep my elbows tucked. So my swing looks like this because if I extend too much, way too much on my back.
Oh, wow.
If I keep the elbows tight, I still get power. I still throw the kettlebell through my legs. I still get that power. I still stop at the top. I still squeeze the glutes. But I don't get that back pain because obviously everything is close, right? The further away you get, the more
definitely
more trouble, right? So I got to keep my elbows tight. So when I do kettlebell swings now, I say, listen, there's two. Angela will do it, regular swing, comes up to chest level, but my swings are elbows tight always because I have to protect my back. I can still get power and explosiveness. I can still swing heavy. It's just you're not going to see my arms out here. You're going to see them tucked in. And I actually help. There's a few people in our kettlebell academy who have that same problem. Exactly what you said. It's not just the technique of it. It's the biomechanics of your body, what your body can take.
Most definitely.
Right? It's not just, you're doing it right or wrong. Hey man, I want to still get the benefits of doing the swing, but I've got to make some adjustments that don't decrease the benefits of the swing. I'm still getting that posterior power, explosiveness.
And you know what you're getting? You know what you're getting? Because you keep the elbows tight. Yes. It's actually what you do in a rack position when you have the kettlebells in a clean with doubles, for example, even with the singles. Right. So if you keep the kettlebell tight, not only you're not going too far outside your center of mass. That's one thing. But the additional support of your arms, it's an additional braking system.
Right, exactly. That's why
that keeps the spine, because that's what Professor McGill said. He said, when the spine, there's always some movement in the spine, which is normal, but some people don't tolerate too much of that movement. So when you feel that, and that's why he said it. Listen to your body, man. Watch your anthropometrics. See what you're built. And back when I started, I was like, that's how it's supposed to be done. and then I realized, like, yes, you have to follow the cues. And I always say it like this. If you follow the proper information and the proper cueing and the proper coaching, then you need to put in the reps to build the skill. However, what you have to do in that middle ground somewhere is understand what your body tolerates, what your body wants, and how your body feels. And then maybe, I love this, then you do an adjustment to a level where, like, well, you're supposed to keep your, no, I gotta watch my shear, brother.
Right.
That's still get the power. Difference.
Yeah. And I
still power.
Yeah. And it feels like for me, my glutes and my hamstrings are more engaged when I keep it tight because I have to really explode even more. Because when the kettlebell's coming from out here, you still have a little bit more momentum when you're throwing it.
Yeah, most def. Yeah.
Right. So bringing it back up isn't as, you don't need to have as much power. It's very little, but you don't have to have as much power. So if it's just coming here, throw back, and then you got to explode back up. So again, those are for me help. But I do have to get going, but I've got
Yeah.
2 more things for you. 2 more things. We got to do this again. But
Most definitely.
do this again. 2 more things. One, oh my God. Oh, I have a workout for you. It's called Beat the Clock. It is on my my YouTube channel, but I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
it's like a 20-minute EMOM. There's 4 exercises. You're doing it every 30 second on a 30-second, but there's a limit, right? The 4 exercises are just swing, goblet squat, push up, and burpee.
Awesome.
But it's a good. It's short. It's a good. It's a killer. It's a killer.
Awesome. Yeah, got to do it.
It put me in check, no doubt. So I'm going to send you that link. Just for you to do it, whatever you want to do it.
Live. Yeah, most definitely.
And last but not least, are your parents German? They speak German, or do you just speak German?
Yeah, my parents speak German, but my father, I'm a son of an immigrant, so my father's from ex-Yugoslavia.
Oh, okay.
And my mother's half German, half Austria.
Okay.
And I live in Switzerland, and I speak a couple of languages.
Okay, so when you were younger,
you
were going to sleep, your mother must have sung you this song. Hänschen klein, Gingelein, in sie weiter Welt hinein, Stock und Hut, steht und gut, Ogi Magerhut.
Yeah, kind of like it, but that's what.
Okay. I know I might have butchered that one up, but Hänschen klein.
Hänschen klein. Ja.
I love it. In sie weiter Welt.
In die weite Welt rein, ja genau. Oh, you know what's funny? When people start speaking in German, then I start saying stuff like, ja genau, ja, voll. It's saying stuff in German back, because then my brain is switching, right? Hey, Funk, let me tell you one thing, and I got 2 things that we have to cover for the next time. Now, first of all, the first thing, man, like I told you, man, I got so much stuff, man. I mean, even the stuff that you said about the manhood, and there's a war on men, a war on testosterone. We got to talk about this next time, man. Well. And the things that I have, brother, is another thing that you mentioned about, what I wanted to ask about is, how do you feel the body positivity idea, where it's like, yeah, you want to be comfortable in your own skin, and yes, we're built different, but that doesn't mean that obesity is healthy, right? 100%. So that's where I want to get your take on and talking about a little bit. And last but not least, let me tell you, I'm putting together this Kettlebell Avengers thing.
I'm in. But my wife may have to be the front and center of it, but we're in.
Okay, you got to listen.
I'm in.
Just telling you what it is. We have the first one coming up this November. So what we're actually doing, I have Steve Carter, Chandler Marchman, Cat's Kettlebell Dojo, Brittany French-Shavendijk, me, and so we're all together. And Luca Kurchev he's also from Canada. Luca. So we're all in one podcast, and then we're having a conversation.
I'm in. I'd love to be in.
Awesome.
I know Chandler very well.
Awesome. Oh, it's gonna be great. Absolutely. Because my goal on YouTube especially is get the experts together. Right. And then have them talk about certain topics and certain stuff that sometimes that we have a conversation when cameras are off.
Right. Yes.
But people need to hear what experts are actually thinking. All right. Yeah. And experts are saying about, and that's why sometimes people are having a problem with when we critique, but it's not about critiquing. It's just saying, listen, this is how we actually do it. But maybe there's a perspective that we don't see. Right. So that's the Avengers thing. And the last thing, the next time, we got to talk about some hip-hop stuff.
100. Oh, I don't have the shirt on. Oh, God damn it. I had my Pete Rock.
I saw that Pete Rock. I was like,
Pete Rock, Primo, and Large Professor. You kidding me?
Oh, Large Pro. Oh, I love it. No, I saw that post where you.
Red Man. Is that the Red Man?
I saw the Red Man post. I was like, oh my God! I gotta ask him about Rakim, about KRS-One, about Nas, about all these.
100%. That's my era. All of that.
Awesome.
From
because as I was walking into the gym, you gotta imagine, I was like, oh man, I have one client, and then I talk to Funk. So I'm like, I remember the song, so I put it on. Classic from KRS-One, Nas, Primo, and Rakim. So I'm listening to this song, and there's a couple of lines in there. For example, Rakim, he's like, age don't count in the booth when your flow stays submerged in the fountain of youth. Woo! Rakim's line, like, ooh. And then there's another line that really resonates with me, because Nas says, by the time your chips, how did he say that? Wait a second. By the time you can afford it, the car ain't important. When they do make the whip you like, your chips ain't right. By the time you can afford it, the car's not important. And then KRS, he's like, me, I got no jewels on my neck. Why? I don't need them. I got your respect.
Mic drop. They all set him up for that. KRS always comes correct, man. Oh yeah, we 1,000,000%. 1,000,000% we're going down that route. 1,000,000%.
Gotta do it again.
And last thing before I leave, National Testosterone Awareness Day is going to be happening November 16th. I just declared that day, whether we call it national, global, whatever, it's through the national day, the calendar. And it's to bring awareness to testosterone. Because like I said before, testosterone gets a bad rep. Oh, you got too much testosterone. Oh, keep the testosterone down, blah, 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 which is not what we want. You know, the culture is feminizing us men, and we need to regain it. But it's not. It's about teaching people why testosterone is important and why we need it, right? We need it to survive. We need our T levels to be as high as they can be as we get in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And we're in an epidemic right now where our testosterone levels are the lowest they've ever been in modern day history.
Wow.
Meanwhile, and I'm talking across the board, meanwhile, we have more, better medicine and technology and knowledge. It should be
completely wrong.
So it's just the awareness. So I'm bringing that awareness on that day. And but we'll talk before that for sure. Because I do have to get going because we got to shoot some videos. my wife's got to shoot a double kettlebell workout because she's taking over. So
awesome. Funk. Man, listen, I 100% appreciate. And just as a last thing, I don't want to keep it long now, but just as a last thing, when I discovered kettlebells for the first time, I saw Steve Carter, I saw Pavel, and you were amongst them.
Jesus. Thank you.
Listen, man, that's why I was so looking forward to get that reaction to Kettlebell Chaos. Because when I watched your stuff, I was like, that's what my stuff's got to look like one day. Funk, you inspired the hell out of me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I generally don't get speechless, but I'm speechless. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you 100%. I appreciate you. I love you, man. You're my brother.
You're my brother.
The world of kettlebells is dominated by two training styles called hardstyle and kettlebell sport. Although vastly different in nature, they have been proven to work and give you the most bang for your buck whenever you pick up a kettlebell if you apply the technique correctly and are able to differentiate between the two. Now for beginners, this task might be understandably confusing. With our upcoming hybrid style masterclass, in 100 lessons, you will embrace the emergence of the hybrid style movement, where you will learn how to combine the best of both worlds and become a master at handling the kettlebell. Join the next revolution in kettlebell training now and sign up for our early birds list to stay up to date and receive an exclusive discount in release week. Link is in the description.